I was stuck in a trap, and I didn't even realize it. My daily pattern looked exactly like this. At work, scroll. Waiting for someone, scrolling. Eating, scrolling. Being anxious, scrolling. Wake up, scrolling. Just before sleep, scrolling. Most of the time, I was not enjoying it. It was just automatic. And after some time, I realized a deeply uncomfortable truth that I can't sit still somewhere without reaching out to my phone. But somehow I was able to get out of it. This is not a 30-day framework video for digital detoxing, but rather an experience from someone who was once obsessed with social media, but somehow able to escape the pit. Welcome. An average person spends around 2 hours 21 minutes daily on social media. I'm not talking about phone usage, I'm just talking about social media usage. And if you do the math, that counts to around 3 days in a month, 36 days every year, and even a 4 year in a 40 years of lifetime. 4 years simply scrolling through social media. And let's be honest, forget the number that I quoted. Just look at your phone usage. I'm almost certain that it's higher than the amount that I just quoted. And for sure, my usage was way higher. Now you might ask, what's the problem with scrolling? There's no problem with scrolling if you are the one controlling it. But what if you are not in control? What if you are being fed with a lot of cheap content? You're consuming it endlessly without even realizing it. Wouldn't that be a problem? Let me put it this way. If you're not able to focus on this video up to this point, or you were relentlessly checking for notification, or you were thinking about which app should I open after this, then you are also suffering from the exact problem. Brain rot. It was the Oxford word of the year 2024. Brain rot is a feeling of mental fogginess or reduced brain function caused by consuming too much low quality, addictive, or mindless online content. This refers to the gradual erosion of your attention span and your thinking abilities due to endless social media scrolling and severe digital overstimulation. But here is the worst part. In addition to stealing your sleep, your attention span, your cognitive abilities, social media injects something into you, something toxic, low self-esteem, and constant comparison. No two people in the world are the same. We are completely different. Our characters are different. Our social, educational, financial circumstances are completely different. Yet, a 40-second reel of a 22-year-old millionaire, or a destination wedding of a perfectly romantic couple, or the athletic build of a model makes you believe that you are not doing enough. Seeing people with perfect bodies and flawless lives make you think that you are failing. But cut through the noise. It's all a lie. Looking after someone as a role model and keeping that fire inside you to achieve your goals, that's great. But comparing your entire life to a 40 seconds edited, highlighted reel, that's completely dangerous. It leaves you with constant dissatisfaction and discouragement, and it builds up anxiety. And what would you do to get rid of the anxiety? You again go back to your phone, start scrolling. It's an endless loop that you cannot even escape. But have you ever given it a thought? Have you ever thought like, why are we still going back to screen? Even we know that it is going to be a bad thing for us in the long run. James Clear explains this perfectly in his book Atomic Habits. He says people choose bad habits not because they lack intelligence or the willpower, because the bad habits gives us immediate reward, while the negative impact is actually delayed. Human brain often prioritizes what feels good for us right now over what's actually good for us later. That is exactly why behaviors that feels good right now actually win, even though we logically know that that is not going to make us any good, but rather bad in the long run. Clear uses smoking to show why bad habits stick so easily. He explained that the first time someone smokes, the long-term consequences like lung cancer or heart disease are years in the future and completely invisible. What the brain notices instead is the immediate effect. A hit of reduced stress, maybe some social bonding, or a brief sense of relief. Because the reward is instant, the cost is delayed. and the behavior repeats, and it hardwires into a proper habit. And here is the thing, what happened to me was not coincidence. And if you are also in the same loop, you are not able to escape it, not because you lack confidence or you are weak. It's because the apps are designed in such a way that it attracts us all the time. The apps are deliberately designed with the help of neuroscientists and behavioral scientists to keep you hooked all the time. And the companies are spending millions engineering every single detail. The pull to refresh, the unpredictable notification timing, the infinite scroll, to make sure you stay as long as possible and to make you come back even if you leave. Sean Parker, the founding president of Facebook, actually admitted this publicly. He said the platform was built to exploit a vulnerability in human psychology. Their words, not mine. So when I say I was in the loop, I want you to understand that the loop was deliberately made for me, made for you, made for us, by those who actually know what they are actually doing. I was in a never-ending cycle. I was constantly switching apps. I'd do hours of Instagram, then jump over to YouTube, then over to X, and then to another platform. After some time, when I finally got tired of all those, Instagram was sitting right there with a refreshed feed, with a whole lot of new content, cheap content for me to consume. There were even times I ended up spending 12 to 14 hours in a single day on my phone. That's like half of my day completely gone. Initially, I thought completely uninstalling the social media apps would help me get out of this matrix. But I was wrong. At least for me, I couldn't do it. Whenever I tried to uninstall it, in a few hours, I just reinstalled it again. But slowly, over time, I was able to escape the loop. How? I started with setting timers for all the social media apps. I initially set a 4-day daily timer for Instagram. But as soon as you near that set time limit, your phone sends a notification asking if the session needs to be extended for 10 more minutes. I hit extend all the time. And once those full 4 hours finally got exhausted, the app would close and lock me out. So what did I do? I just head into settings and delete the timer for the app for the day, by just convincing that I would be more strict from tomorrow onwards. The same story repeated every day. But eventually, after so much struggle, I was able to stick to that 4-hour time frame. I stopped disabling the timer, and after a few days, I even stopped hitting that 10-minute extension button. Slowly, I reduced my allowed usage time from 4 hours to 3 hours, and then finally to 2 hours. And finally, one day, I was ready. I just uninstalled the app completely. Now, if I look back, the one thing that stopped me from uninstalling the app sooner was FOMO, the fear of missing out. I had this false belief that I was getting a lot of valuable information from social media apps, and if I delete it, I wouldn't get it in the future. But I was wrong. But trust me on this, you're not getting anything beneficial from the social media apps. Even if you do rarely, you just hit the save or later button. Then you forget it. If you still believe that you're getting some valuable information from social media, let me back it up with science. Our brains don't store everything we passively consume. For information to actually transfer into long-term memory, it needs repetition, active engagement, or real emotional significance. Mindlessly watching reel after reel gives you none of these things. Just try to remember the content of the last 5 reels you watched. You can't, because it hasn't created any impact in you. You just watched it and you forgot. That's it. And even if some of it stick, just consuming information is not going to give you any advantage. If you're not applying what you're learning, it is not going to give you anything. It is just sitting there at the corner of your brain, just fading away after a few days. Even if you understand all this and finally decide to quit social media, there lies the biggest challenge. The question of now what? You have been spending a lot of time on social media and you just stopped it, and you have a lot of time left just lying in front of you. You don't know what to do. So your brain has to find something to fill it up, because you trained your brain to fill this empty space with your phone all the time. Now, this is extremely uncomfortable for the brain to have a void, empty space. So, you need to fill up with something else. And all of a sudden, you have a lot of silence. That feels so wrong. That's withdrawal. Withdrawal from the very loop that engineered to keep you inside. In my case, I filled up the empty spaces with YouTube. It was a much better feeling. I started to regain my focus. Earlier, I used to watch 50 reels at a stretch. 50 different ideas flashing in front of my eyes. And now, it got replaced by 1 or 2 long-form YouTube videos. I was able to focus more on specific topics for a longer period. It was difficult at the beginning, but eventually I got a hang of it. But it was not a cure. I started to watch more and more YouTube videos, just consuming. I was thinking that I was gaining something, gaining knowledge from all of these long form YouTube videos. Yes, I accept that my attention span got improved, but I was continuously consuming different ideas all the different times. And the main part was that I was not applying any of this information to anywhere. So as I just mentioned, it was just information getting piled up, information overload, not doing anything good to me. It was just sitting at the back of my brain just to fade out after a few minutes or hours. Realizing that, I stopped that too. How? Through journaling, through reading books. I keep a small note with me all the time, just to ensure that I'm not reaching out to my phone. Whenever I have an urge to reach out to my phone, I just pick it up and write something down. Maybe write the reason why I am taking that phone right now, so that I was able to limit my phone usage to a larger extent. More stories on journaling, reading books will be shared in another video. I'm not asking you to ditch all social media and to just become a monk. No, I'm not asking for it, but limit it. Just make sure that you are in control of it and you are not being controlled by some cheap content all the time. And I admit that there are a lot of people who actually have a strong, healthy relationship with social media. That's really good. But if you're someone who is in a toxic relationship with social media, just quit it. Do something that you really love. When you get that void, empty space, you will start to think. You'll regain whatever that you have just forgot. Maybe like reading, writing, painting, cooking, all those skills that got buried within you just because of the use of social media. There are many more wonderful things that you can do in your life than just moving your finger back and forth on a 6-inch screen. Try those things out. You'll definitely feel the change, I promise. Thanks for watching.